Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello there, welcome to Energy Focus of Money Radio, a program reaching you on Leadership Television. How are you doing? My name is Winnie Freddy, and with me in the studio is an in-house analyst, group business editor, leadership newspaper, Inse Anthony. It's always a pleasure to have you, brother.
Thank you.
Looking beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, viewers, our focus for today's discussion is on petrol distribution, marketers list challenges and the way forward. Following the intervention of the DSS, the artificial scarcity created by some marketers has been quashed, thereby resulting in the supply of petrol at more filling stations. Why this is laudable, stakeholders say this is just a stopgap measure and that the real issues must be addressed for a more lasting solution. Yes, 2 weeks ago, or was it last week, there was reports that the DSS actually gave 24 hours, yes, for marketers to make for filling stations to dispose of the long queues in the filling stations and make products available for consumers. And of course, after that time, we see that some filling stations have actually closed outrightly. Some are not selling, while some, the ones that are open for businesses, you still see some little queues here and there. Listen, what is your take? What's the way forward?
Yes, like you said, before the intervention by the DSS, the long queues were actually getting out of hand.
Yes,
And you know that if you look at many of the filling stations, right in front of those filling stations, you will see the black marketers.
Yes.
So many of them. In fact, there's one particular filling station close to my area on the Abuja, the Kubwa axis, where the NNPC filling station, the queues will be so long, but you will see so many black marketers.
Yes.
So people would just it's like they've emptied all of their products to the black marketers.
It seems so.
Yes, while people are on queue, not getting direct from the filling stations. And you begin to wonder what happens. How come that the black marketers have non-stop supply of products while the filling stations are not dispensing fuel? So that it became an issue all around. You saw those long queues and all that. And the matter was already getting out of hand before the DSS intervention. And after that, the DSS came issuing a 48-hour ultimatum that marketers begin to dispense fuel to the public, otherwise they would be shut down. If the DSS officials happen to enter their filling stations and discover they have fuel or they are hoarding. So at that point, those of them who were actually hoarding began to dispense of the product, and there was a slight relief. But like we were saying before we came on air, already the queues are back.
The queues are back. Yes, on my way to the office this morning, I saw that some queues were already lining up in some filling stations.
Same
but if I may also intervene, prior to this time, we used to have a task force. They moved to all these filling stations to ensure that they actually open for business, selling to customers and using all their fuel pumps to sell. But that is not the case. And do you know that is also partly why there is a queues at most filling stations, because they are not selling with all their fuel pumps. So what happens to these task force?
That is exactly the question. What happened? Before now, that was the DPR and the PPPRA were saddled with this responsibility. And with the coming on board of the Petroleum Industry Act, we have seen the PPRA squashed, and then in its place we had the midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authority. So I do not know whether it's still the transition program
is
from
affecting me.
that is affecting them. But if you look at it, you will see that the job of this monitoring task force has actually declined a lot. Even concerning those who are the black marketers, the task force always had a way of dispersing them,
Yes.
controlling them.
Yes.
So at that point, you find out that where you would naturally find the black marketers would be on the outskirts.
Yes.
But here you find them
Right.
so boldly right in the middle of town and right
In front
in
of the filling
front of the
stations.
filling station. So it clearly shows that the task forces either they've been disbanded or they've actually they are not doing their jobs at all.
Yes, now let's look at the timeline. We've seen that since February, if I'm not mistaken, there has been fresh queues. The queues have become longer in most of Nigeria's filling station. And during the height of the rainy season, we were told that it was the flood at Lokoja that kept most of these tankers at bay, that they couldn't access the road, and the water eventually dried up. And yet, you see the situation. And we also discovered that most times when there's scarcity, when filling stations come up to start selling, briefly anyway, there is always increase right in their fuel price.
Yes, you know, the issue of fuel scarcity for this year started, like you rightly pointed out, in February,
Yes.
when the issue of the uh, uh, wrong fuel specification that came into the country,
Yes.
and then many vehicles were having issues. Some engines were being knocked down and all that, and then they now had to start evacuating on that fuel, and there was a disruption in the supply chain. You know, it takes, since most of the products are imported, they need some time to have the products coming, and then while others are still coming, then to maintain that seamless flow of supply. But with that disruption, it's as if they never got it
Yes.
right.
Yes.
And coupled with that came the issue of the Ukraine-Russian crisis, which
Yes.
shot up the price of crude oil in the international market, and the landing costs became very high for petroleum products to come into the country. And all this on and off since then till as we speak, we've continued to see the effects of not having adequate supply within the country. We've seen the little times that the consumers and the motorists have had succor has been very
Far and
yes, far and
just
in
less
between.
in between.
Yes, the scarcity has been more or less like all year round this year, and all this points down out boils down to what the stakeholders are agitating for. It's not just enough um, for for them to take all those stopgap measures while the real issues are
Yes, I'm not
still there.
there.
So rather than, while it is good to take this immediate measures to control the situation, they've also said that it's high time the authorities began to take a more holistic look at this problem, and then dealing critically with the issues, the main issues that have been making the fuel scarcity to recur on and off all along the years.
So, in a nutshell now, because there are reports, before we discuss even the way forward, there are reports that most of these filling stations are not open to the public, especially daytime. In the night, they're actually open to sell for these black marketers. That's the reports that we get. And you saw that most filling stations, especially in the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, has remained shut ever since. But sometimes you still see some cars that they sell to and close shop. So, what should be done? There's no measures taken about against those issues.
Actually, the issue here is to actually determine, do those do they have supply, and then to be not just by what they say that, oh, we have or we don't have, to be able to follow it up strictly to find out where these filling stations actually supplied from the depot, and then begin to interrogate what happens between when they pick up supplies at the various depot and to their filling stations. So have they been, is there, how many trucks were allocated to them? How many have they dispersed? How long has it been? There should be a more measures to be able to follow up these activities, to know of a truth whether they are not diverting
Products.
products, because there's been widespread accusations of smuggling. Many of this smuggling, where it happens, they pick up the supply from the depot at the prices, at the price, subsidized prices that is being sold within Nigeria, and then they divert, this fuel end up being diverted. In fact, we've seen for a while the Nigerian Custom Service have come up to say they seize um, various thousands of liters of petrol products that were on their way out of the country to our neighboring countries, where the price of fuel is
Higher.
much higher. And so we've had these issues where there's a disconnect between the supply that is given to these marketers and what ends up being seen, sold to the consumers. And where there is no mechanism for determining whether they are actually selling what they've been allocated, it becomes difficult to be able to tackle these issues.
Thank you so much. No, now that you mentioned subsidy, I begin to wonder, one begins to wonder that even with this subsidy, of course, it was budgeted for how many trillions? I've forgotten. The federal government,
For the current
yes,
year,
for the current year,
4 trillion
4
was
trillion.
budgeted
And
for
yet, why is the product
subsidy.
is this scarce?
Well, that is actually beginning to hit, the matter on the head, because we've talked about the price of food in the international market. Though as we speak, the price is coming down from the high that we've had during the year, which went as high, above 100, even to 120. At a point, it was $125 to a barrel. But we've had all of that come down. Right now, we are seeing prices in the neighborhood of $80 to a barrel in the international market. So that in itself should affect, result in some considerable decrease in the landing cost of petrol for Nigeria. But then, because of the high cost of subsidy that the federal government have had to incur during the year. In fact, the subsidy was so high that it's, according to reports from the NNPC, it overrode the uh, sales of crude oil. It actually was, the subsidy was higher than the income from sales of crude oil, and so nothing. The
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money rate. Money Radio. Discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. This is Energy Focus of Money Radio on Leadership Television. I'm waiting for the Baba with me in the studio is an in-house analyst, Inse Anthony Kuko. It's always a pleasure. Yes, before we went on a break, our topic of discussion was petrol distribution, marketers list challenges, and way forward. Now, Inse, back to our discussion. What are actually the challenges?
Yes, the marketers have listed a number of challenges, and major on their list is the price of diesel,
Okay.
and then
The price of diesel is deregulated.
yes, that is actually where the problem is. Okay, imagine the price of diesel is deregulated. Right now, it sells for like between 800 and 900 per liter. And then, and the marketers, the trucks that they use in transporting fuel runs on diesel. The filling stations run on diesel. Even the ships that bring in the petroleum product run on diesel. So imagine where you have to buy diesel at a deregulated price of 850, 8 to 900, and then you use it to transport
The product that is
a
less
product that is much less,
value.
and the profit on it is so small. So that has been their own cross. That the cost of operations for them it's much too high. That despite the fact that the federal government said it is subsidizing um, petrol, which they transport and they also market, it's not enough. They are running much higher costs, bearing the operational cost of using diesel at a deregulated price to dispense products, to transport and dispense products that are highly regulated. And so, as a result of this, you have seen many of them either refusing to pick up those supplies of petrol at the prices that they are being picked, and then that's why you happen to see a lot of the filling station also shut, besides the ones who have picked up supplies from the depot. And then you also see, as a result of this, many of them do not, they've been reluctant to uh, drive those products from where they are picked. For instance, some who pick in Lagos or in Port Harcourt, to carry it all the way to Abuja and up north and other places at those costs. They would rather pick up the product and sell at nearby filling stations where they don't have to transport it for so long and bearing the cost of diesel and all that. So we have seen this as one of their major challenges. And also, in addition to this, a lot of them, for those who still decide to, you know, transport it. The complaints have been about roads, that the roads are so bad as a result of inflation. The vehicle parts are so expensive. They've more than the prices have more than doubled since the year began, and they still have to, because of the bad roads, the maintenance on their vehicles have become extremely high. And so where this happens, they are bearing so much cost on one side the diesel for their products, for their vehicles and their pumps, and then on the other side bad roads that take a toll on their on their trucks that transport this. And then when you put all of this together, it becomes too much on the operating cost that they are actually operating at losses in delivering this product. And so that, in a nutshell, has been the major concerns that they have expressed. That as long as these issues are not tackled, then no matter what stopgap measures are taken to quash the crisis, the scarcity that we've been having, that it's only going to last for a while. It's not going to bring about lasting solutions like the country has always wanted in a long time.
So what is the way forward?
You know,
No, just before you answer what is the way forward, I want to ask this. When PIA came into force, many people lauded it. Many were of the opinion, or still are of the opinion, that PIA will take off these bottlenecks in the oil industry. Why is PIA not addressing these issues?
I think we would say that PIA is still uh, it's still in its transitory period. A lot of by the time PIA came on board, there are so many regulations that would be needed to drive the PIA. So it was not just automatic that everything would just fall into line, and the implementation will begin from the one. So as we speak, while I'm not holding forth for the regulatory authorities that are charged with the responsibility of implementing the PIA, but what we've had them tell us on a number of occasions is that at this stage they are still putting together regulations, various regulations that will drive the implementation of PIA. In fact, just yesterday, we had a conversation with the chief executive of the upstream regulatory authority, the NUPRC. And what he said was that so far in the last 1 year, the commission has been able to put together has inaugurated 63 trust funds. That is the host community trust funds, where monies, the operators will begin to remit monies into for the development of projects, for the execution of projects within the host communities and all that. So this has taken a while. There are various segments, various aspects of the PIA that they have had to, work on, formulate regulations, and then get the operators to ratify and agree to those regulations before they begin implementation. So it is our hope, it is our expectation that it's a year plus now. The PIA was signed, August made it 1 year. By the end of this year, we would have had a year and 5 months. So we are hoping that this is enough time for them to have put in place all the needed regulations, and then from next year we'll begin to see the full implementation of the PIA, and hopefully it would come in to address a lot of these challenges that we have seen the oil and gas industry face in recent times.
Thank you so much. On the part of the marketers now who are making this litany of complaints, what is the way forward?
We've been on this matter for a very long
Yes,
time.
we have.
So it's really high time that Nigeria moved away from this. Number one, being that we are a major oil producing country, and the major issue has been that with the quantum of oil that Nigeria produces, Nigeria still depends on importation of refined products. We've, as a result of this, the foreign exchange crisis has affected this, the importation of petroleum products. Nigeria is not earning enough foreign exchange from crude oil, which is its major foreign exchange earner. And so the marketers have had trouble accessing foreign exchange to be able to import. Meanwhile, if we were refining locally, that wouldn't be an issue. In the first place, the authorities, the federal government, will be able to keep the foreign exchange that it earns from the sale of crude oil products and use it for other things. Use it for other on other sectors where foreign exchange is absolutely necessary. For instance, for the import of raw materials, for the import of machineries and the rest for our industries. But even right now, we are still, the country is still using the scarce foreign exchange. It's still looking for it to import refined products. So this has to stop. It really, really has to stop. And again, the issue of roads. If the refineries in the different areas, in the different parts of the country, we are working. For instance, the Kaduna refinery is there.
There are reports that it has never even refined even one crude oil.
So for a very long
Since it
time,
was set up.
for a very long time, I can't even recall when that refinery actually
Yes, that
refined.
is calibrated to
Yeah,
refine.
and as a result of that, marketers have had to be moving products from all the way from Lagos, all the way from Port Harcourt, or from Warri, and right now it's even Lagos it's mainly import. But even at that, even if the refinery, like we are hearing that by next year January the Port Harcourt refinery should begin to work, but even at that they will still need to move the product from Port Harcourt all the way to the north, and so it is still an issue. Nigeria must begin to refine this product, and then the internal problems will be better managed. As it is with the imports that is going on, and then the other issues, challenges within, it becomes too cumbersome to be able to tackle them all at the same time. And so far, all hope is still hinged on Dangote refinery.
Now, before we go inside, what happens to the modular refineries that we have in some states? I know of Edo State, I know of is it Calabar or Akwa Ibom, and there's one again in another state. So what happens to them?
The modular refineries actually do not have the capacity to refine the quantum of refined products that Nigeria needs. So at best, it's only for, to meet just a few a limited area of supply. So it's not, except we have them so many and in very different parts. And again, the financial implications of setting up modular refineries, and then with the regulated environment of the PMS, of the Petrol, the operators of modular refineries have not found it, have not seen it competitive enough for them to go into the refining of petrol. They will rather refine products that are not regulated in price, so that they can be able to recoup um, some of their profits. So until the issues of subsidy, the issues of importation are dealt with, it's still going to be
Right.
the same story.
Thank you so much, Inse. You're quite vast in that. Thank you so much for your analysis of the petrol sector. which is still undergoing so many challenges. I look forward to having you on the program. Well, viewers, you just heard from the group business editor of Leadership newspaper, Inse Anthony Ugo. My name is Winifred Igbo. I look forward to seeing you same time, same station next week. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.